Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and we are here with Dororo, episodes 9 and on. You know by the title, obviously, what episodes we are reacting to, but as of recording this, I don't. We're starting with episode 9, obviously, because that's where we left off, but as for how far we're going to go today, we'll just see. We'll see. I haven't actually decided. It's just going to be like whatever I feel like works. Um, so it's been a month since we last reacted to Dororo, and a lot of factors have contributed to why it's been so long. One, of course, the One Piece week and everything, but we also had Thanksgiving in the middle of all of that. We had just a bunch of other stuff to react to, and it's just Dororo is kind of taking a back seat because of it. Unfortunately, as it is, it has. But we are going to finally get back into more of it. So, yeah. um, God, where was it? Where did we leave off last time? Oh, I think I remember Hyakimaru got his voice back, and he'd just been starting to use it, like just barely like using it, like trying and everything, but not really getting it. And then, like at the end of one of the episodes, I think he said Dororo's name. God, I really don't remember. Maybe I should look that up real quick. Because yeah, it's been like I said a month since I last reacted. And I did like I think a two episoder last time, 7 and 8. So let me just check real quick because I want to be sure, you know. I want to just make sure like I know what happened last time. Should have checked this beforehand, but oh well. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, episode 7 was the spider. That's right. The spider woman, the Jorugumo, who fell in love with the dude. And episode 8 was the cloud. Yeah. The cloud demon, which was a centipede. And yes, at the very end of that episode, Hyakimaru regains his sense of smell, but also actually says Dororo's name for the first time since getting his voice back. Yeah, I remember. I remember now exactly what these two episodes were. Okay, so we had the spider one, which I actually really did like that one. Like even remembering it now, like I really did enjoy it. Just the idea of just the concept that in this world these demons, these monsters could actually fall in love with a human and just choose to live a peaceful, loving life with them is just such a fascinating concept. Um, it's a great idea, and it was executed well too. Like it felt believable because it's like she wasn't in love with him at first; she was using him at first, but she fell in love with him because of the way he treated her, a way that she was not accustomed to. But then we had our second episode. So we had this mountain kid, this orphan who lived on the mountain, very monkey-like. But he was trying to stop this ritual sacrifice in which this woman, a woman that he cared deeply for, because she actually treated him normally, because for some reason he was treated like a pariah by other people. Um, she was going to get sacrificed to this cloud demon, this centipede, in order to save the village. Uh, Something that has been shown to work in the past. So Dororo and Hyakimaru save her and fight the demon and everything goes well. No one dies this time. Well, okay, I think a couple of like random people are killed by the centipede, but none of the notable characters of the episode die, and it ends well. Ugh, excuse me. But yeah, so I enjoyed that one as well. But we're going to continue on. We're going to see if Hyakimaru continues to use his voice or how gradually that goes. We're going to see what else happens on their just pilgrimage. And hope for the best. Hope for the best. So, like I said, we're going to do just as many episodes as I feel I want to today. We're going to definitely do two at least. Like that much I can guarantee. We're going to at least do two, and then we'll either choose to continue on or not, as much as we want, based on how I'm feeling at that point, and especially based on just how I'm feeling based on where the episodes go. Because the second episode here, for all I know, might be a good one to end off on for the day. And just as a note, I don't want to continue to put off Dororo to where it's like, oh, every like few weeks or every month or something like that, we get back to it. I don't want to keep doing that, but at least for this month, with all the movie reactions we got to do, there might be a little bit of putting off as well again. Just hopefully not as long, obviously. But there might be, just because we got a lot of movie reactions to do this month as well, so it's just like got a lot to get to and might not be able to get to everything every week. But we're going to try our damnedest. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I really don't. Maybe it's just because I woke up a little bit ago, but I've been awake enough time to where I shouldn't be yawning this much. I don't know. Hopefully it'll stop well enough by the time we get actually started. So let's get to that. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, these two were some pretty good episodes, and for different reasons. Let's talk about the first one here, because I said I was going to talk about it in the afterthoughts, and I do really want to touch on this. So, episode 9 was a backstory episode for Dororo. We got to see how he was raised as part of this group of brigands who had been kind of put out by the samurai. So they made a living out of going after the samurai, kind of as revenge in a way, and basically based upon pride and whatnot. However, there was kind of a split in the group when one of their members, Itachi, decided he'd rather work with the samurai and join forces with them, which the others didn't agree with, especially Dororo's parents. Dororo's father was the leader of the group of brigands, and his mother was, yeah, she was up there too because of that. So they ended up planning this attack against a group of samurai, but because of Itachi, the samurai had been waiting for them and prepared for them. It was basically an ambush. So they were taken down to where it's like all the men remaining were taken by Itachi to join as well, basically leaving only Dororo's family left. They kind of started traveling alone, um, doing their own thing, just having not really much of anything to do anymore. Dororo's father had been seriously injured in the leg, so he had a hard time walking from that point. So he couldn't even do much in terms of attacks anyway. But especially without anyone else there really to help him, because his wife and child weren't going to be able to do much. So they end up coming across this village where someone recognizes him, someone who had been left to survive, recognizes Dororo's father, and he attacks. He's killed, but the others start attacking, and Dororo's father ends up dying in the attack. So Dororo and his mother escape, and they keep going, but she ends up sacrificing everything to him, all the food, just everything for him, even to the point where she allows burning soup to be poured into her hands just to be able to feed him. And eventually she dies as well, just from weakness and malnutrition and whatnot, in that field of spider lilies. Leaving Dororo to fend off on his own, and kind of leading to where he met Hyakimaru. And I don't know if Itachi's ever going to return, but he didn't even get his comeuppance, so. But one thing was brought up, because during the episode, during the entire time we're finding out about this backstory, in the current day, Dororo is sick. He has altogether what it seems like a minor illness. By the end, it's called the 3-day sickness, so it's like, okay, it's here and it's gone in 3 days. Nothing major, but it should be treated still. But during it, they end up coming across this. I don't know if she's a nun or something like that. Maybe some kind of a nurse or doctor or something. But they come across her. She helps them. And when talking to Hyakimaru, talking to him about it, she mentions, like, something along the lines of, and I'm very much paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact line, but it's like, in fact, maybe I should just go look it up real quick, just to make sure. Just give me a second here. Hopefully it'll take quicker to come up than it did for episode 10 to pop up. But she said something about, come on. Here we go. It must be difficult traveling with such a young girl. So this, of course, I did notice that. I didn't like say anything in that moment, but I did notice that. And I want to address this. So the idea here is that the nurse was obviously caring for her, and it was made clear that Dororo's clothes had to be removed to be cared for and everything during this. Like, that was even mentioned afterwards, after Dororo was better, and he was super embarrassed by it, but I'll get to that in a moment. And so it's very clear why this woman said that. And here's the thing, and this is probably, I don't know, like, if there was any controversies or anything surrounding this series when it came out, or any, like, debates about this kind of thing. But from my perspective, seeing this, Dororo actively refers to himself as a male. He actively calls himself male and truly believes it. It's not just like, it's not just a thing of, like, he's mistaken. It's not just a thing of, like, he doesn't understand. I think that embarrassment at the end of the episode, I think, was more than just like embarrassment from being seen naked. I think he knows what his body looks like. Well, obviously he would, but and I think he knows the difference. Let's put it that way. Um, and from all angles, I'm looking at this. From what, all the information we have, the fact that Dororo is referred to as a girl by this woman, the embarrassment after the fact, the strong embarrassment after the fact, but also the fact that Dororo does refer to himself as male very strongly, makes me just honestly unable to see him as anything but. The fact that he chooses and desires to be referred to as male, just, I'm going to refer to him as male. Because that's what he wants and that's who he is. And it's like, to put it simply, it's like, it comes across as him being trans. And some people out there would probably say something along the lines of like, oh, but this was in, like, this takes place in an era a long, long time ago. The idea of transness didn't exist then, which, by the way, is false. But even on top of that, this is also a series that has demons in it, monstrous evil demons. It also has a main character whose pretty much entire body was taken by these demons, and yet he still survived and was able to survive off of prosthetics without having any senses at all for like over a decade and a half, like a decade and a half, something like that. Because I think he's like 15 or something. The point is, this isn't realistic. It's not meant to be a realistic depiction of the samurai era of Japan. I don't know what the era's actual name is. The period. I always get those mixed up and confused. So, but you know what I mean. This isn't like an accurate representation of it. So for one, that's not even an applicable argument in that case. But also the entire thing about not being trans people in that time is just provedly false. Um, but even beyond that, it's like even if they didn't have like the words to accurately explain or describe it back then, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't exist. And like there's no real explanation outside of that. Like from all of our information, that's what we have to assess. Like, yeah, in those times in history, especially in Japan, there was a lot of necessity to protect people, especially women. And there was a lot of times where women would pretend to be men in order to stay safe. That was a thing that existed in that time. But this is clearly not that same situation. Because even if that was Dororo's parents' idea, at first, the fact is, Dororo truly 100% believes in his heart that he is male, and therefore he is male. If he truly believes that, if he truly like understands that, which he clearly does, it's like it's undeniable in my eyes. So yeah, I very much wanted to mention this again. I don't know if this was a controversy or if this was a debate at all when this came out. It probably was. I honestly, I would not be surprised. But I can't see it any way up any other way based on the information we have. It's just it's blatant in my eyes. And again, I will still refer to Dororo by he, him pronouns because that is what the character prefers. And as such, that is what you should refer to him as. So, yeah. I don't know if this is going to come back later at all, if this kind of thing is going to be important in the future. Do not tell me. I don't want spoilers or anything, but yeah, it's just it is something to discuss, especially with me reacting to it as a trans person. So, but yeah, as of now, that is the only way I can see it. And whether they acknowledge this or not, we'll have to see. Whether they go back into this or not, we'll have to see. But for right now, it's like that's all I can see it as. But anyway, so episode 10, let's get into that one now. So episode 10 focused a lot more on Tohomaru, Hyakimaru's younger brother. So Tohomaru is trying to find out his father's secrets, trying to find out what's going on. And he finds out only that there was a baby. He finds out about the baby from over a decade ago. And he tries to get more information, but his father shuns him. At this point, he ends up helping out this other village, this nearby village, with a demon problem, this demon crab thing. And in the end, when it almost seems like they're going to lose, or at least they're close to losing, because the demon crab manages to break through the dam. I can't think of the other word they used, but it's basically a dam. I don't know why I can't think of the word. They used it so much in the episode, but after it was introduced, of course. But anyway, Hyakimaru actually comes to save the day and helps finish it off. And I think it looked like Tohomaru realized who he was there, but was like wanted more information still. So the fact that their meeting is that they've met this early really surprised me. I did not expect this to happen until much later on. But this raises some interesting points and ideas too, because the episode was entirely focused on that side of the story. We had a lot from Tohomaru's perspective and a little bit from his father's. But it was entirely about that side of the story. So I don't know. It makes me think that that's going to come into play. That maybe the entire second half of this series, or at least season, I don't know if it's going to have another season or not. I don't know what's going on with that. But at least the second half of what we've got so far is possibly going to center around that rather than just the demons. Maybe. We'll have to see. But either way, that's a really interesting addition to bring forward. It's going to change how things go, as long as it's not just like that one-time meeting kind of situation where it's just like, oh, it's just a one-time thing for now. They just briefly see each other and that's it. I kind of hope it's not that, but we'll see. If it is, as long as they still do it right, then that's what matters. But it's like, yeah, I'm just wondering where that's going to go now, because that's a big deal. The crab demon itself wasn't like anything special considering the demons we've seen in this show. And overall, it was easy enough to defeat. Like, it gave them a little bit of trouble, but in the end, they figured out how to defeat it, and they would have defeated it. Like, yeah, Hyakimaru helped, but they would have been able to defeat it still. So, and Hyakimaru, we know, would have been able to take care of it without too much issue. That it wasn't really anything exciting or super special. It was more to show Tohomaru as a character. That's what this episode was definitely about. And we get to see that Tohomaru is actually a really good guy. He actually cares deeply for the people of the villages that reside on the land his father owns. Excuse me. felt that coming, knew it was coming. But he cares deeply for the people on his father's land. He wants to help them whenever possible. And he definitely doesn't seem to have gained his father's insane level of ego and just shittiness. um, Honestly, he seems to just be a much more caring person, kind of like Yakimaru. Um, well, to a point, Hyakimaru, it's hard to kind of tell sometimes, but you could definitely tell with episode 9 with how he was worried about Dororo, very much so. Um, he's grown close to him. But yeah, it's like it's a really interesting episode to bring in. Um, and while I don't know where that's going to go, plot wise, it definitely adds a lot to this series that we haven't had in the first 9 episodes before it. Just by giving that depth to Tohomaru, he becomes more of a character than ever. Because prior to this, he didn't really have much going on yet. He was questioning his father's secrets a little bit, but nothing was ever really like largely set with him yet. And that's what this episode very much did. It took 10 episodes to get there, but it very much did uh, develop him as a character and make him feel more like a full-fledged person in this world. So yeah, I did really enjoy both of these episodes. They both had some very big highs to them, some great moments, some great action even if the first episode, episode 9, all the action was in a flashback. But that's fine. That's fine. But it's going to be interesting to see where all of these plot points go from here. And again, unless Dororo says otherwise, I am still going to refer to him as male. Unless he actively says that he is not male and actively says that he does not want to be called male, then I will refer to him as male. Because it's what he wants to be called. It's very clearly what he believes himself to be. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, like I said in the pre-thoughts, I hope to get back to this like quicker this next time. I don't want to wait as long as I did before. Um, but we'll just have to see exactly when we get back to it. Because again, like I said, this entire month we have a lot of movie reactions, and that's going to take up time to record. So it's like I can't promise anything, but we'll try to get to more as quickly as we can. Because I very much enjoy the series. This isn't like Pandora Hearts, where I was kind of growing a little apathetic towards it. Where it wasn't as exciting as other shows we're reacting to. This one I really, really do like. And don't get me wrong, I like Pandora Hearts too, which is why we're only on break from it and we are coming back, but still. It was getting to the point where I was a little apathetic towards it. But this one, it's not. This one, it's just like I've just been putting other stuff first. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of these episodes of Dororo. And I welcome you to discuss even the idea behind Dororo and everything being male, despite what the nurse had noted. Yeah. You know what I mean. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.